Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Forum for Excellence 2021. My name is Molly Cook with the Forum for Excellence Planning Committee. I'll be the moderator for today's session, and I'm joined by Dawn Hughes, who is providing tech support. This breakout session is serving students with Perkins assistance. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started with our presenters. All of our attendees have the ability to unmute themselves, but we ask that you refrain from doing this until the end of the session during our Q&A portion. If you have questions or comments as this session proceeds, please post them in the Zoom chat and not the Whova chat. You can access today's presentation on the Whova app. This session will be recorded, and you can locate the recording on our Forum for Excellence website following the end of this conference. We will post this website in the chat, but you can also access it on the Whova app under Resources and Forum page. If you are looking for a certificate of professional development, those will come 2 weeks after this conference. If you need a certificate of PD, your name will need to be accurate in the Zoom meeting for attendance purposes. Now I would like to turn it over to our speakers. Thank you so much for presenting today.
Thank you, Molly. My name is Scott Warnsman, and I am the Associate Dean for Career and Technical Education at John A. Logan College. And welcome to the 2021 Forum for Excellence and our presentation on serving students with Perkins assistance. And I want to introduce my colleagues who are also going to be presenting here in just a few minutes. Francie Morit, she is our Perkins CTE Advisor. And then also presenting will be Catherine Hoekstra. She is our Perkins Support Coordinator. So with our assistance for Perkins students, this started probably about 6 years ago with our Perkins grant that we received from ICCB. We had been doing various other ways to assist students. We've been doing a mileage reimbursement, and that kind of got so cumbersome that it was tough to keep track of. And so we decided to start what we call our lending library. And so written into our Perkins grant, besides the other things that we have in the grant, such as supplies and equipment for our CTE programs, we decided to start purchasing textbooks, uniforms, toolkits, things that we could pay forward that the students could borrow and then hopefully return back to us at the end of each semester or a full school year. And so, of course, with the lending library, the students have to be in a CTE degree or certificate program. And then they're also meeting one of our 9 Perkins qualifiers. Of course, just like everybody else, when we were shut down back in March of 2020 for COVID, everybody went online. We also then started housing laptops out of our library. And that's, I'm sure, something Catherine was thrilled to be working with, but anyway, it was assisting students, and that's another thing that we've added to our library is a lending cart or a charging cart where we lend out laptops. But currently we have 36 active students who are receiving some sort of assistance from John A. Logan. And again, that could range from textbooks to uniforms to various toolkits. And when we were doing our textbooks, we don't do a textbook for every single student. We don't have textbooks for every single program, but we try to stockpile the library and keep those books in there until they are, until the edition is ran out, until our instructors have moved on to the next edition. Depending on who the instructor is in our program, if they've went to, let's say, the 10th edition and we have the 9th edition, as long as the instructor says that book will work, which we hope they do, that allows us, I guess, more resources to give out to students. And then we've also just recently started purchasing toolkits. We have toolkits for our welding students, our auto students. We also do the lending kits for our cosmetology students. But we're always looking for items to add to anything that we can do to help the students overcome any barriers that may stop them from receiving their degree or certificate. Next slide, please. And so what we created was a Perkins application so we would be able to track the eligibility of students. And of course, whenever you say that this is some sort of loan program and free materials or materials that you don't have to pay for, we get every student under the sun, of course, that will apply. And especially when Catherine and Francie go out to classrooms and there may be a student who doesn't qualify in their course, and you hate to tell them no, but we've gotten to that point to where if they don't have their qualifiers, then obviously they're not going to be able to help. We can't help with the Perkins grant, but we try to send them down another avenue where they can receive assistance. But what we're trying to capture is which one of the 9 qualifiers is that student say that they are meeting. Obviously, we can check their schedule to see if they are in a degree or certificate, or which CTE degree or certificate that they are in. But then also, just for statistical data here at John A. Logan, we want to know which of the qualifiers, or you just have to meet one of those qualifiers, but we want to capture as much data as we possibly can to track the students. And then if they ever come back, if they switch from one CTE program to another CTE program, we still want to be able to assist that individual student. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Francie, and she's going to talk a little bit more about our lending library.
Hello, my name is Francie Moorhead, and I am the Perkins CTE Academic Advisor here. I actually have been here. I started in Perkins in January, so only about 9 months. I'm still learning. I worked in adult ed for 10 years prior to that, before coming over to Perkins. So really enjoy being a part of this Perkins team. We're all working great together, serving students and helping them achieve their goals. So some of you may be familiar with the Perkins, the special population qualifiers. We're just going to kind of go over those. If you could go to the next slide. I think we had switched slides. Sorry about that. We had switched slides today, but the special population qualifiers. So the first one, like Scott had mentioned, you only have to meet one of these out of these 9 qualifications. So one of them, the first one is an individual with disabilities. So that can be physical or cognitive. Second one is an individual who is economically disadvantaged. And the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act defines that as individuals. What we actually see most in our Perkins program are students who have completed financial aid and qualify for FAFSA. So they would automatically qualify for Perkins assistance. The third one is an individual preparing for a non-traditional field for their gender. For that instance, if this refers to occupations or fields of work for which individuals from one gender comprise less than 25% of individuals employed in each such occupation or field of work. So for instance, a female in a welding program or a male in the nursing program, those would automatically qualify. The next one we're looking at is a single parent or single pregnant woman. And then we're looking at out of workforce individuals. The next one is an English language learner where English is not their primary language. Also a homeless individual, an individual who is aged out of or is in foster care. And then last, an individual with a parent who is a member of the armed forces or on active duty. So once the student fills out their application, if they meet any of those qualifiers, they would be eligible to receive our Perkins assistance. So you can switch back to the slide we were on I'm going to talk a little bit about the John A. Logan Perkins Lending Library. The lending library we have here at Logan was developed before I started, so I'm just getting to reap the benefits of using it with our students. It's wonderful, and I've got some slides. We're going to show you some pictures of it here in a second. They worked hard organizing this, making it very accessible for us to pull things for students that are in need. We currently supply a variety of books, tools, kits, and other material in the lending library. We are working with students right now in automotive, and we have a new kit that we have for the automotive program. It's a craftsman's toolkit. It's really awesome. It has, it's full of different size sockets, bit sets, ratchets, wrenches, extension bars, anything they might need to help that student be successful in the automotive program. And we've had several students partake in using those this semester. Another one is cosmetology. We're serving a lot of cosmetology students, and we have a lot of kits for them. It has everything under the moon in them, except we do not have the mannequins in them, but our cosmetology students are very appreciative and using a lot of equipment that we have for them in these kits. We have nursing students this semester, first year nursing and second year nursing students who we have kits that they are using. We also have book bundles as they're going through the program. They can borrow the book bundles from us. And our welding program is pretty neat. We have a brand new kit for our welding program this semester. It comes in a really nice bag. The students has a helmet with the multiple shades they can use, gloves, safety glasses, welding pliers, even a chipping hammer. So the students have really appreciated that this semester. Heating and air, we have kit for them. I won't go through every one of them, but biology, occupational therapy, diagnostic medical sonography. We've got several students this semester utilizing books, scrubs, and even EKG calibers that we're able to help them with. So we've got the computer information systems and electronic technology also that we're serving. Our Perkins webpage offers information for students in all the CTE programs, so they kind of know what is available. We have a flyer linked with the CTE programs available to the students also. And as Scott mentioned, the lending library, it's called a lending library because things go out on loan. Most everything in there is out on a loan. And so we have the students sign a loan form when they take the material out. And then when they bring it back in, we ask that they clean it. We usually clean it also. And then we're able to, as he said, pay it forward to the next student coming. And we like that. We like that theory, paying it forward each semester. So, and we kind of have the students thinking that way too. They're helping someone else when they bring that stuff back. So if you don't care to go to the next slide, we'll kind of take a look at the lending library. There we go. There's our first picture. That kind of, it may look a little bare because we have a lot of things out right now, but that's our shelving unit. It's just an overview of the library. You can see that top shelf over there has some of our kits, the red kits. I can't really see the cosmetology kits, but the cosmetology kits are there on the floor. We have right-handed and left-handed kits for our cosmetology department. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Just kind of shows how we have it organized. We have a lot of nursing material. It's a large portion of our lending library. You can see that in the middle slide there. Over to the right are those helmets with the face shields. And the next slide. When they organized this, they actually categorized it by program down there. I say down there because it's kind of down in our basement. We go down, but they organized it by program. They tried to set up everything alphabetically, which is wonderful. It helps any of us within the Perkins team. If we have a student come in that says, hey, we need something, it's easy for us to go down, access it. Anyone can pull what they need. So that makes it very handy. You can kind of see that on both of those slides. And then that last slide, that's just a little snip of, you can go to the next. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. That is the first year nursing kit that just kind of shows how we label a lot of the things we hand out. And next to that is our Craftsman toolkit checklist that is laminated nicely, everything hooked on there so the student knows what's in it. And when they return it, it's our way of kind of checking things off when they bring it back, which makes it great. So we try to label our kits that way and makes it easy for the student to kind of remember what's in there because that would be easy to forget. And when they return it, it helps us to kind of check everything back in. And I think that is everything I have right now. Thank you. We're going to have Catherine come up and talk a little bit more about our Perkins program.
Hello, my name is Catherine Hoekstra. I'm the Perkins Support Coordinator here at John A. Logan. I started in March 2020. It was a terrible time to start a new position right when COVID shut down the state. So as Scott mentioned earlier, part of my, I'm going to say initiation into this position was coordinating a laptop program for our students. We saw a great need, not just with our Perkins students, but I'm sure as many of you can relate with COVID among the college population in general for technology assistance. So we had some COVID issues with being remote and students not having access to laptops or internet. And we also had Perkins funding that we needed to spend. So via Teams, we met and decided that those funds would best be utilized to give students some technology. So we decided to provide laptops for our Perkins students. They do have to be qualified in our program. They can be referred to us certainly as just a technology need, but it is an application process, much like for Perkins materials that we use for our laptops. Currently, we have 8 of our laptops out. We ordered 10, and we hope that we can continue to add technology as we see the need. But we have a detailed application and even a referral process from an instructor or staff member here on campus. Next slide, please. So this is our Perkins laptop cart that we were also able to purchase to store our laptops. There's only 2 available. They're very nice Dell laptops. So when students are issued one of these laptops, they get a very nice neoprene laptop sleeve that says John A. Logan College current technical education on it. They are issued a laptop and a charger. And right now our laptops are housed in our library. So this is a photo of the cart in our library. One of our major concerns with the technology component is that we want students to be able to access their program or their class materials outside of being on campus if they need to. So we saw a major need for a lot of our students within nursing and dental and automotive, because some of those programs use electronic textbooks or ebooks rather, or they have some sort of program that is a simulated version of what they might use when they're in the real world. So they need technology at home to do those things. Our laptops that are stored on this cart can receive updates when they're here at the college. They stay charged. And so we felt this was a really good way to, again, pay it forward for our students who might have some technology issues. The laptops, much like our other materials, are loaned out on a semester basis. So it'd be really great to hear if anyone else does laptops and how that works for your Perkins program, because this is relatively new for us. So we do our materials on a semester by semester basis, but a lot of times we have some students that will need it, as Scott mentioned, for a full school year. So we just ask them to fill out another loan form or do a continuation for each semester. Next slide, please. One of the really great things about our job is getting to work with students, and we meet students from all walks of life at various stages in their college career. And so we contacted a few of our students that we've met this semester. We told them about this really cool presentation and this really awesome conference we were attending. And we asked if they could give us some student feedback. So the quotes that you see here are used with permission from these students. They're from a variety of programs. We also get a lot of emails as the semester goes through, thanking us, just telling us how much they appreciate. So the bottom quote I'm going to add to, because Deontay actually added more after we submitted our slides. So the first one is from Omar. He's a DMS student, and he was actually really considering dropping the courses and leaving the program because he was worried about funding and getting extra materials. We were able to step in with Perkins assistance and get him some of the supplies that he needed. So he wrote to us and said the Perkins grant is easy to apply for, and the Perkins coordinators and advisors will make it even easier. Margaret is one of our nursing students, and she was kind of in the same boat as Omar, not really sure how she was going to cover some of the additional costs for the nursing program, really struggling with technology issues. And so she wrote to us and said, thank you so much for everything this semester. I would not be able to take classes or work toward my degree without Perkins assistance. Erica is another one of our nursing students. She came to us after the semester started because she was referred to us from another nursing student. So in addition to instructors referring our students, we also sometimes get student referrals. which is great for our program. And of course, if they qualify, we're able to help. So in one day, Erica learned about Perkins. She applied, she qualified, and she got half of her nursing textbooks and a laptop to use. And as you can read there, she's just very appreciative and says, thank you, thank you, thank you. This helps me so much. So Deontay is a former student of Francie's on the adult ed side. So another great kind of connection that all three of us have is that we've done a variety of different positions while we've been here at the college. So some students may know Scott from a class that he's taught. Some students may know Francie from adult ed, and some students may know me from a class that they've taught. Unfortunately, with Scott and I, sometimes we don't always teach CTE students, but if we do come across those students, we often talk about Perkins with them. So Deontay found Francie, and we were able to help him out. And so I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on his quote that he sent us. My grandmother always said, closed mouths don't get fed. Although I felt afraid to open my mouth and be honest about my situation, I'm certainly glad I did because you guys have become very dear to my heart. Thank you for all of the support and information you have provided. And he's one of our HVAC students. Next slide, please. We really pride ourselves on the relationships that we have with our CTE faculty and staff. As Scott and Francie have both mentioned, our team, although we're pretty small, we have technically 4 of us that kind of serve our students. We have Scott, who is our Associate Dean for CTE, Francie, who's our Perkins and CTE Academic Advisor, myself, who serves as the Perkins Coordinator, and then Jennifer, our administrative assistant. And I say our because we all kind of benefit from her assistance and guidance. So our instructors are really another means of getting our program out there to their students. They are kind of like mini recruiters for us in Perkins. And 2 of our longtime faculty members provided quotes for us. You can see the first quote is from Connie Robinson. She's our lead cosmetology instructor. And as Francie mentioned, we actually serve 12 cosmetology students out of, I think, 36 that are receiving assistance. And so Connie says the Perkins program has helped cosmetology students when no one else was able to. It offers so much help to my students in many ways. Without Perkins, I feel we would have several students withdraw due to the hardship of purchasing kits and the other items required for the program. Kudos to this amazing program. And we, since I've been here, we visited Connie's classes. We see a lot of her students come to us because the kit does cost a little bit of money. And so we're able to pay it forward to those students, whether they're right-handed or left-handed. We have a kit, as Francie said, that's equipped with everything that they need, but they're mannequins, which they have to purchase on their own. Another one of our instructors is Joe Roach. He's in automotive, and he wrote to us and said that he believes because of this program, his retention and student involvement in lab has been higher than in years past. The students that have used the program are better prepared and ready to work. I can't say enough about how thankful I am for this program for the students. I really do believe it helps lower some of the stress about going to college so they can concentrate on learning. And we go visit Joe. He's in our vocational building. So it really is a nice opportunity because we also get to go to these labs and these classrooms that we don't always get to see. But definitely at the beginning of the semesters, we're able to go through and sort of see what these programs have to offer. When we go to the classrooms, one of the really cool things that we get to do is we usually have a PowerPoint prepared. This past fall semester, we've had some swag to distribute. Our college recruiter has been extremely helpful in giving us flash drives, keychains, pens, a variety of things, lanyards that we can pass out to students when they're in the classroom, learning about our program as well. Next slide, please. As Francie mentioned, we have a webpage on our college website, so you can visit us there at jalc.edu/Perkins. On that page, we have our 9 qualifiers listed. We have some information about Perkins, And then we also have an online application that is routed to our email. So our Perkins team receives those email applications. We can go through and see if they qualify and contact them as soon as they do. We also have a flyer and handout that gives a little more information if students or faculty members are interested in sharing that with their students. And then we have an Word application that students can download if they prefer to fill it out via paper as well. Next slide, please. So we got through that pretty quick. There is our contact information. If you would like to send us an email or reach out to us, we definitely would love to hear about what other programs do in terms of their lending libraries or the distribution of materials for students who Perkins qualify. It looks like we have some questions in the chat, so hopefully we can get to those and address those for you all.
Perfect. So it looks like the first question in the chat we have is, would you be able to share your application with us?
Yes, we can. And Molly or Don, one of you may know, is there a way to upload that in our session area in Hoover?
Yeah, or I can also share the link now. Did you say it was on this page? Oh, sorry, I forgot I stopped sharing my screen. So I'm pointing on my screen where it is, and you can't see that. It's the jalc.edu/Perkins.
Yes, and you can download the Word version and you can save that, edit it. We try to get each semester, so it should be pretty up to date.
Perfect. I will put that in the chat in just a moment. And then let's see the next question. The next question is, how did you choose which programs needed this help?
I'm going to let Scott answer that one.
So we kind of go off of enrollment. So our biggest enrolled program here at Johnny Logan is obviously nursing. So we try to keep more of their materials in stock. It's basically looking just through the years and the trends to see where students are going or where students are headed, what particular programs. We also try to do an emphasis each year when we write our Perkins grant. What are we going to emphasize through our program of study that we're going to submit for? And usually with that program of study, for example, 2 years ago, it was our cybersecurity program. And so we emphasized a lot more in the Perkins budget because we had updated some computers for the students in that particular program. So it just kind of goes back and forth each year, and depending on enrollment, I would say nursing probably has a lot more materials down there because they are our biggest enrolled program, but it also goes off of any of the programs that would have equipment outside of just the normal textbook, of course.
Great, thank you. And I also put the Word doc of the grant application in the chat box. So for anyone who's looking for that, that's in there. The next question is, let's see here. Do you provide books in programs that have physical books? Some of our programs only use electronic books. So how do you handle that?
So a little bit of both, because if it's an actual textbook that the instructor has put on their syllabus, we will get textbooks. But some of the programs, especially our auto program and our HVAC program, are using Cengage. And so we do, we're allowed to do the access code. So we do that. I know that's kind of the wave of the ebooks, the wave of the future with the ebooks, getting away from the physical textbook. The good thing with the physical textbook from our standpoint, like I'd mentioned when I was doing the opening, was as long as the instructor will still allow for those older editions, we can keep those in our library until they have switched from that author and went to a totally different textbook.
Perfect. So the next question is similar. For your lending program, how do you prioritize which courses or books to buy or to get kits for?
Again, it kind of goes off of that first question. The bigger programs, meaning the more enrolled programs, or the programs with the most enrollment, we try to stockpile more of their materials. But then also we'll look at it from a financial standpoint. Those kits that Grancy and Catherine were talking about in cosmetology are close to $1,000 for the students to buy, especially if they're using Pell. If they're using Pell, you know, if we could help offset some of that cost and we'd have more coming back on their Pell, that's why we do that as well. Also with the cosmetology kit, Francie and Catherine had mentioned that we buy the kit, but we don't buy the mannequins. That's because the mannequins get used up. And so they start off, I believe, with the longer hair, and then they cut down and, you know, they do what they do in Cosmo. So that's why we don't buy the mannequins for the kits.
Perfect. The next question we have is, do you provide code-only resources?
We have, I mean, depending on the class, if it's, and I'm assuming that's what they're asking about, if it's a class that has an access code or something like that, yeah, we will provide that as well. And again, some of our applied tech programs are switching to access codes because in our HVAC program, for example, our instructor has found a great program that simulates real world situations, and he thinks it's a great benefit for the students. And they don't use a textbook anymore. They use the Cengage access code, that and the various tools or the toolkits. And again, we have a few of those, but yes, we definitely do access codes in various programs.
The next question is, how are students held accountable for returning items?
That's a great question. It's the stuff that we don't like to do, but we've had students who have borrowed a laptop, or Catherine has loaned out a laptop to them, and they were new Dell laptops, and so they're around $1,200 to $1,300. So we've had to get our campus police force to kind of encourage, if you will, to bring those back. We also put holds on the account. We obviously don't want to hold up any student from graduating or getting that transcript, which is the most important for moving on. But we also want to be able to pay it forward, as we mentioned, for the next students that are coming through. So the easiest thing is probably to put a hold on the account. And then when the student is trying to register or trying to get their transcript, they'll see that there's a CTE code, and they'll usually contact one of the four of us to see what's going on. How come I can't access my account?
Great. Next question is, can this program be used for early college CTE students?
Early college, I'm assuming they're talking dual credit or dual enrollment.
Kiara, could you specify in the chat? Yes, dual credit, dual enrollment.
So here at Johnny Logan, our dual credit, dual enrollment students are not degree seekers. We have them classified as transfer course enrollees. So that would not meet one of our qualifiers, because they would not be a degree or certificate seeker at that point.
Wonderful. I don't see any other comments in the chat. Does anyone else feel free to post another question in the chat? Feel free to raise your hand if you want me to unmute you. We can, wait for a second on that.
Just to kind of elaborate a little more on the question about holding the students accountable. As Scott mentioned, we've had some issues where students maybe are a little hesitant to return something, or maybe they return a cosmetology kit, for example, and it's missing quite a few items. We've had that happen this semester, and like Scott said, it's not something that we enjoy doing. Kind of tracking the student down, trying to track down items, putting a hold on their account, stopping them from sort of going forward once they're ready to enter the real world. But one of the things that we have discussed is a separate application for the toolkits as well. So we have a pretty detailed laptop loan form, and on the back of that, there's a responsible use kind of policy section that they have to, agree to take care of the laptop. If they run into any issues, they're going to return the laptop to the library so that IT can become involved and work to solve that issue. They will be issued a new laptop if that happens, so they're not out a laptop. But one of the things that we have found, especially with COVID or students that maybe drop a program is that we really have to kind of track our students after what we call 10th day reporting for a full 16-week course, 5th day reporting if it's a first half or second half block course, and then midterm. So we are constantly checking in on our Perkins students. We're sending emails, we're communicating with them because we want those items to be returned so we can pay it forward to other students. So with the issues that we've had, we've decided that maybe another form, write more paperwork, which they may not want to really fill out, but another form with an application where there's more detail on what happens if you don't return that item or if it comes back to us damaged. Kind of an odd situation. We had a student who had a laptop out. He was one of the first to get one of our brand new laptops. We were super happy to help him. He had some access codes for a course, and last fall, he wasn't doing so great. We touched base with him. He said, I don't know if I'm going to continue in spring. Decided not to take spring classes, but he was going to come back for summer. So we asked him to return the laptop. This is where our campus police team got involved in encouraging him to return it. So the student made arrangements with me to return the laptop. I happened to be out of the office and told him he could check with one of my colleagues, and he did not. He left the laptop open, exposed, no sleeve for it, no box, against my office door. So thankfully, Francie was in her office. I got an email with a screenshot and panicked because I was off campus for something else. And, you know, I'm in a busy hallway. There's a lot of traffic. Anyone could have picked that laptop up. So we are looking for ways, as Scott mentioned, to kind of hold those students accountable, whether it's a hold or just kind of like, you know, we're making nagging phone calls and emails. Because again, our whole system and the whole kind of concept behind our library is to pay it forward for other students in these programs.
We got another couple of questions in the chat. One of them is, which programs do you look to expand?
Programs to expand. That's a good question.
Which programs to expand upon?
Which programs do you look to expand? Yeah.
I hope enrollment increases in every program, and it forces us to have to do that. But I would think that until we get the students that are requesting materials, and Catherine and Francie had talked about how they go out to the classrooms and they do a great job of communicating and presenting to the classrooms and working well with our CTE faculty. And our CTE faculty contact them on a daily basis about the students. So, you know, not every program we have has physical materials that they have to have, such as equipment or tools or things like that. But we had an issue last semester where it was a business student who needed, I believe it was one of our computer applications books, and eventually we were able to get it. But we try to publicize this as much as possible, and again, just to get out to all the CTE classrooms and let the students know that we're here. So I guess to try to answer that question, I hope all of our 20 plus CTE programs or individual degree and certificate programs that we have, and hopefully we are able to increase some degrees down the road. We have just turned our ag program into an AAS degree, so now they're eligible for Perkins assistance as well.
Great. The next question we got is, do you see damage to the items that you're lending being an issue?
So Francie and I can kind of tell you a little bit about that. We, with our return process, what we try to do is make sure that students are aware, obviously, when the semester ends, when they need to return their items to us. And when we start the checkout process, we really stress that these are items on loan, and that they're borrowed, and that we would like them to come back in the condition that we've loaned them out in. We would like those returned to us that way. Unfortunately, you know, we've had a couple cosmetology kits when we go through a checklist. So one of the great things about our library is that we tend to have checklists for all of our kits. Whether that's a cosmetology kit, a welding kit, the Craftsman toolkit for automotive, The students know exactly what's in the kit when they get it, because we give them the exact kit as it has come to us. And so we try to tell them everything that's on this list, everything that's on this sheet needs to come back to us. There have been times where it's been a very quick return, like maybe a week before fall semester, we got some of our summer items back. So the check-in process maybe wasn't as smooth. And so that's when we started realizing, oh, wow, this right-handed cosmetology kit didn't come back with the right-handed shears. So yes, we have had equipment come back damaged. Yes, we've had to replace that equipment. And yes, we've had to put holds on accounts, get our campus police involved, make sure that these students return these items, because, you know, they don't want to pay, as Scott mentioned, you know, for a brand new laptop that they're not going to be able to have, right? Because it needs to come back to us because it's borrowed. So one of the things that, you know, we've been fortunate to do is kind of replace, we've had a few people donate. So kind of speaking to the cosmetology program, because that is a very high enrollment number of students in that program. We've had some local hairdressers donate shears to us for our kits. We've had to make a run to our local Sally's beauty supply store and pick up items that haven't been returned or that have come back to us damaged. So while we sometimes get nervous to loan out so many things at once, like with the kits especially, we know that eventually it's going to come back, but there's always kind of that, oh, we don't know how it's going to come back to us moment as well. So hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, and then the next question that was asked is your checkout system automated or computerized at all? Or are you using spreadsheets to track the computers, tools, and books?
That is a really great question. So with the assistance of Jennifer, she tracked all of our CTE programs materials through our college bookstore website. So any books, any other materials like stethoscopes or gait belts or EKG calipers, welding hoods, anything that was a required purchase through our college website, Jennifer tracked that. She created this system of how we have the library organized. So we had mentioned that any one of us could go down and pull materials if one of us happens to be off campus or in a meeting or with another student. And we have a student that, you know, needs 12 nursing books. Someone can grab a cart, go down and pull them because of how we have it organized. We do have a spreadsheet. We do try to track it electronically through our spreadsheet and update that. It would probably be a good time right now while it's kind of slow and about midterm point for our 16-week courses to go down and do inventory now to sort of see where we stand. But right now it's a spreadsheet that we all have access to. We use Microsoft Teams here at John A. Logan. So that's where a lot of our student files live. We have a Perkins team page and a lot of our documents like the application and the loan forms and a list of all of our CTE instructors and a list of the inventory. That all lives on our Teams page, which the 4 of us have access to, and we can edit and update as needed.
Wonderful. So I don't see any other questions in the chat right now. So I have some closing remarks. Do the 3 of our presenters, do you have anything you want to add in our time here?
Anything? I'm pointing because they're sitting, so. I think
Well, I'll go through some of these closing remarks, and then if any participants think of questions as I'm going through these, feel free to just post those in the chat and we can loop back to them. But we're just really glad that you're here at the 2021 forum. Please be sure to provide feedback to this session by clicking the rate session button in the Whova app agenda. We would also like to take this time to direct you to our on-demand sessions, which you can access at any time during or after this conference. You can access these by locating the resources tab on your Whova app and then clicking on demand. Feel free to follow us on our social media platforms as well for all things forum, including engagement and giveaways. And Dawn just placed the 2 hashtags to use in the chat box. So with that, I don't see any other questions. I think we are wrapping up on this session. And thank you so much to our presenters. I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.